Hello and welcome to part 24 in my Japanese for Beginners series. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to tell someone that it is either okay to do something or not okay to do something. And as an added bonus, you'll be able to say even if something happens, something happens. This corresponds with page 152 of the Genki Volume 1 textbook, but don't worry, even if you don't have that textbook, this video will still make perfect sense on its own. では始めましょう。So remember the te forms of verbs that we learned before? Yeah, you're not going to escape that. We're going to be using these te forms of verbs continuously for many different conjugations, and this grammar rule is no exception. And we're also going to be using a particle that we already covered several videos ago, but this particle is going to be used in a different way. And this particle is particle mo. So you might remember from past videos that mo means to or also, but if you add mo to the end of the te form of a verb, it means even if this verb ... and then you'll follow that up with something else. Even if this happens, this will happen. So I'm going to illustrate that with some examples. To eat simply is taberu, but if you want to say even if I eat, tabete mo. Miru is to see, but even if I see, mite mo. Utsuru is to reflect. Even if I reflect would be utsutte mo. Nomu is to drink, but even if I drink would be nonde mo. And suru is to do, but even if I do would be shite mo. And then here are some sentences. Ninjin dake o tabete mo futorimasu. So ninjin dake is only carrots, and then tabete mo. So even if I eat only carrots, comma, futorimasu. Futorimasu is a verb that means to get fat. So the whole sentence together is, even if I eat only carrots, I will gain weight. I mean, that can be true. If you eat like 4,000 calories of carrots every single day, you could gain weight. 薬を飲んでも病気が治りません. So 薬 is medicine, and then 飲んでも, even if I drink medicine. So just a quick note, this is just a linguistic thing. They say 薬を飲む. They say drink medicine. They don't say take medicine like we do in English. You wouldn't say 薬を取る, which would be like literally to take medicine. They say to drink medicine. Or swallow, technically. Nomu is not exactly drink, it's more like swallow. So anyway, 薬を飲んでも, even if I take medicine, 病気が治りません. Byoki is sickness, and naoru is a verb that means to fix, to cure, to get better. So 治りません would be to not fix or cure or get better. So even if I take medicine, my illness will not get better. I won't get better. 何をしても人生がつまらないです. Some of you guys might be feeling this right now. Nani is what, and then shitemo is even if I do. So even if I do what? Literally, that sounds so incredibly weird. If you think about it and wrap your brain around it, it will take you eventually to no matter what I do. Nani o shitemo. No matter what I do. Jinsei, life, ga tsumaranai, boring. So no matter what I do, life is boring. So now that I have shown you guys, you might wonder, okay, why is she talking about even if blah, 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 in abstracts and these like poetic sentences or whatever? The reason why I'm doing that is that's the first step towards telling someone that it is okay or not okay to do something. Because the way you express it's okay to do this verb or it's not okay to do this verb in Japanese is literally you say, even if you do this verb, it's good. Or even if you do not do this verb, it is good. It's like, it's expressed that way rather than it's okay if, or it's not okay if, or even if you don't do this, it's okay. They don't say like, it's okay if. They just don't use that verb form. They say, even if you do this verb, it's okay. So there's like a slight difference there. So maybe you've gleaned from what I was saying, literally, even if you do this verb, it's good. You know what the adjective for good is in Japanese, it's i. So yeah, that's basically all you do. You just say the te form of a verb plus mo plus i, and then plus desu if you are being polite. And then if you add ka to the end of it, that's how you ask someone if it is okay to do something. So I'm going to illustrate this concept of, is it okay to do this thing? Yes, it's okay to do this thing. I'll illustrate that with a few sentences. So for the verb taberu, to eat, ケーキを食べてもいいですか would be, may I eat cake? Is it okay if I eat cake? And then someone might answer, はい、食べてもいいです. Like, yes, you may eat cake. And just a note, if you're answering, you don't have to answer, yes, you may eat. You can just say, はい、いいです. Or you can just say, はい. Or just いいですよ, or どうぞ. You don't have to like repeat this whole thing like a textbook would. I'm just doing it in these examples to illustrate how you can ask someone, is it okay if I eat something? And how you can tell someone, yes, it's okay if you eat something. So here's an example with the verb 見る, to see or to look at. 毎日アニメを見てもいいですか? That is, may I watch anime every day? Is it okay if I watch anime every day? And then someone might answer, はい、見てもいいです. Like, yes, it's okay if you watch. For 飲む, the verb to drink, ビールを飲んでもいいですか? Is it okay if I drink beer? はい、飲んでもいいです. Yes, it's okay if you drink beer. する, the verb to do. 好きなことをしてもいいですか? So 好きな, remember that means like, it's the adjective that means things that you like. And then こと is things. So 好きなこと, things that I like, をしてもいいですか? Is it okay if, may I do things that I like? May I do whatever I like? And はい、してもいいです. Yes, you may do. So now another note, I've been talking about particle mo. In casual speech, people usually drop the mo. Wah, wah. So all the examples I just gave you, you can repeat all those examples to yourself without the mo, and that's going to be a little more colloquial. That's going to be more how actual Japanese people speak in daily conversation. So just a couple conversion examples here. 食べてもいいですか? Becomes 食べていいですか? 食べてもいいです. It's okay if you eat it. Becomes 食べていいです. Yes, it's okay if you eat it. But what if somebody asks you if it's okay to do something and it's not okay to do something? All those examples were like, yes, it's okay. Yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do this. Sometimes it's not okay to do something. Sometimes you want to tell someone, no, that is not okay. So the way that you express that is, remember the te form of the verb. So the te form of the verb plus wa plus ikemasen. So this, incidentally, is the more formal way of saying you may not, you must not do that. Basically, you mustn't do that. It's kind of formal. I'll teach you the less formal way in a minute. But yeah, the verb ikemasen on its own does mean something. Ikemasen comes from ikemas or ikeru, which means like this can work. This is a go. So if you say this verb wa ikemasen, that means like this verb will not work. This verb is something that you cannot do. So that's why it works. So here are some examples of that in action. そこの椅子に座ってはいけません. So そこの椅子, that chair over there where you, the listener, are. Ni, so again, in, that particle. 座ってはいけません. So 座る is the verb that means to sit. 座ってはいけません means you mustn't, you aren't allowed to sit in that chair over there where you are. So you aren't allowed to sit in that chair. 公園でお散歩してはいけません. So 公園 is a park. De is that particle that's showing a location where an action is taking place. So お散歩する is the verb that means to take a walk. So お散歩してはいけません means you're not allowed to, you mustn't take a walk in the park. 男子の前で着替えてはいけません. So 着替える is the verb that means to change clothes. 着替えてはいけません would then mean you mustn't change your clothes or you are not allowed to. It's not okay if you change your clothes. And then 男子, you might recognize those kanji. I've been using them a lot in these videos. So the first kanji is boy and the second kanji is child. So together, boy, child, or just boys, basically. 男子. So 男子の前, in front of the boys, de, so that's showing the location. The location is in front of the boys, and the action is changing your clothes. So you're not allowed to change clothes in front of the boys. So as I mentioned earlier, the てはいけません is a very like formal way of saying you mustn't do that thing. And most Japanese people, some of them talk like that, but it's like if you're talking casually with people, you're probably not going to use that. You might hear it being spoken because it's more polite. You might hear it spoken to you because it's more polite and people are going to be polite to you. But, if you're going to say things to people that you're close to or whatever, you're going to want a more colloquial way of saying this. This isn't covered in the Genki textbook, but I thought I'd toss it in here because it's actually pretty easy grammatically to grasp. So usually if in common spoken Japanese, if you want to say you mustn't do something or like don't do something, instead of te wa ike masen, you use the cha form of a verb and then you add dame. And then desu at the end of that if you want to be a little polite. So something, cha, dame, des. For basically it's the same thing as te wa ikemasen, just less formal and literary sounding. So the cha form of a verb, you might be like, there's another form of a verb. So the cha form of the verb, the rules for conjugating into the cha form are exactly the same as the rules for conjugating into the te form of a verb. The only difference is instead of te being that final character at the end, it's cha. It's kind of like the ta conjugations, the plain past tense of verbs. It's exactly the same rules as te. It's just a ta instead of a te. Same thing with cha. Same rules as te for converting into the te form. It's just going to be a cha sound instead of a te sound. So tabete would be tabecha, futte would be futcha, shite would be shicha. That's basically how it works. So with that in mind, here are some sentences. Mune o sawaccha dame. Hitting you guys with a big one already. So that means hands off my boobs or don't touch my boobs. Because sawaru is a verb that means to touch. So sawatte would be the te form. Sawaccha would be the cha form, basically, of the verb. So sawaccha dame. Don't touch my boobs. Watashi no pizza o tabecha dame. That means don't eat my pizza. Or you're not allowed to eat my pizza. It's not okay. お母さんの化粧品を使っちゃダメですよ. So this is me, okasan, speaking as myself. And I'm speaking about myself in the third person. Okasan, that's very, very common, by the way. So don't think a person is weird if they're speaking about themselves in the third person. That's extremely common. So a mother is saying, okasan as in my, okasan no my. Keshonhin is cosmetics or makeup.使っちゃダメですよ. You're not allowed to use my makeup. 兄貴、誕生パーティーに来ちゃダメよ. So that's, hey bro, aniki. That's like a slangy term for older brother. Tanjou party would be like a birthday party. Ni kicha dame. So kicha dame is the cha form of kite. Kite wa ikemasen would be like the formal, you mustn't come to my party. But kicha dame would be like, you don't. So, hey bro, you're not allowed to come to my birthday party. And now we've come to the review part of this video. Don't skip this part. Find a nice, quiet, cozy place by yourself and practice saying these phrases. I have timestamps in a pinned comment in the top of the comment section and in the video description below. And just click on whichever phrase you want to hear me say. Pause right after I've said the phrase, practice saying the phrase, and then click on the next timestamp of the next phrase that you want me to say. That way you can have me say as many phrases over and over as you want me to. You can also, pro tip, change the speed of my speaking. If you want it faster or slower, just go to the settings and the YouTube playback and change the speed. 人参だけを食べても太ります。薬を飲んでも病気が治りません。何をしても人生がつまらないです。ケーキを食べてもいいですか？毎日アニメを見てもいいですか？ビールを飲んでもいいですか？好きなことをしてもいいですか？そこの椅子に座ってはいけません。公園でお散歩してはいけません。男子の前で着替えてはいけません。胸を触っちゃダメ。私のピザを食べちゃダメ。お母さんの化粧品を使っちゃダメですよ。兄貴、誕生パーティーに来ちゃダメよ。Thanks for watching. In the next lesson, we're going to cover the te, iru, te, inai, te, ita forms of verbs. Basically, that means you'll be able to say you are doing something, you were doing something, you are not doing something, you were not doing something, you used to do something. Anyway, thank you to all of the patrons who support this series and the other series on my channel, including special shout out to my newest patrons, Paul, Jeffrey, Rich, Andreas, Maxine. Thank you all for joining the Genki family and good luck on your Japanese journey. If you felt like this video was a little too easy for you, I have some playlists floating above my head of more intermediate learning series, one for watching Sailor Moon and learning Japanese, another for learning Japanese by singing, and of course I have a huge library of other videos on this channel that you can check out. Choose your own adventure, and until then, mata ne!